have led to a threat of Zimbabwe's suspension from the Kimberley process, the international diamond watchdog. The mine has become something of a national scandal. What with speculation about what is going on, where the diamonds are going, and because of the belief that the huge wealth there could solve Zimbabwe's economic problems. I thought I would test the BBC's right to report in Zimbabwe and try to investigate. At the Ministry of Information in Harare, which supervises the foreign press here, they told me they were happy for me to visit the mine, but that I should check with the Ministry of Mines. At the ministry, they said they didn't know of any wrongdoing at the mine and said they had no problem with me going there, and gave me a letter to take to the company, the government-owned Zimbabwe Mineral Development Corporation, which is operating there. The head of ZMDC told me he had no problem with the BBC visiting the mine, and he too gave me a letter to that effect, but said I would need final clearance from the police. At Central Police Headquarters in Harare, they told me they couldn't give me clearance to go to the mine and referred me back to the mining company. So after permission from 2 government ministries and the mining company allegedly in charge there, no one was prepared to take responsibility for us to visit the mine. So who is in control of the Marange mines and what is going on there?
There's a big exploitation of diamonds going on.
The Zimbabwean chief executive of a UK-based mining company says he is the legal owner and that his claim has been upheld by the courts in Zimbabwe.
The High Court has given a very, very detailed judgment after a 3-year court case that fully upholds the mineral rights held by this company, bearing in mind that this company has offered to joint venture with government and the nation and the community in a very, very equitable format. And so we view these diamonds and these diamond rights as belonging to the country as much as they do to the company. And it's a national asset that is being raped.
Like me, he's not allowed there. He can only report what the diamond dealers tell him.
Zimbabwe is purported to be, from very good sources, the largest source of smuggled informal diamond supply in the world at the moment. And it is all coming from this site.
To his surprise, he's learned from recent aerial photos that a huge airport is being built there.
This is out of all proportion to what's required for a mine. It is larger than Harare International Airport. To me, it's sinister.
Western intelligence sources who've studied the pictures believe that it is either a way to smuggle huge supplies of diamonds out to acquire the income needed to keep Robert Mugabe in power, or a way to bring arms in, or both. Whatever is going on there, it hardly inspires confidence in Zimbabwe or the inclusive government.
There's a queue of investors wanting to come into Zimbabwe in the mineral sector. We're very rich in minerals. We're the first and the biggest in the past 5 years. And this is a test case. If the rule of law cannot be obeyed, if the decisions of the courts are ignored by the law enforcement agents and the government itself, then I wouldn't invest if I were a major investor.
I put this to the Minister of Indigenization, a member of ZANU-PF, whose job is to transfer the wealth of the country to black Zimbabweans.
The diamonds in Marange are an inheritance of people of Zimbabwe. People of Zimbabwe must benefit from this resource. So my view, and from where I stand, I'll look at the indigenization issue and matter and say, what is the stake that is available for the people of Zimbabwe? Period.
596 shares I'll take. 596 from number 21.
Yeah, okay, love.
At Harare's stock exchange, they've already had to cope with the impact on investment made by illegal seizures of farms and diamonds.
60670 from number 8.
They now fear the effect of new regulations, which rule that all companies operating in Zimbabwe must ensure that 51% of shareholding belongs to indigenous Zimbabweans, which in effect means black Zimbabweans as it refers to all those who have been racially discriminated against in the past.
Buying 4.8, you can't trade at that price.
I don't believe in proscribing. There's nothing wrong about, getting the local guys participating. But it can also be a big disadvantage. Right now, a lot of investors are saying that's an impediment to investment, and I agree with that.
The new law is dividing the inclusive government and threatening the power-sharing experiment. It has been condemned by the Prime Minister and the MDC, who fear that it will have a negative impact on a country desperate for investment.
I think desperation must not make us resort to some very desperate remedies to the situation. It doesn't mean because we are going through these challenges, then we have lost our dignity as Zimbabweans. In this country, there has been that historical imbalance caused as a result of racial prejudice against the black people. So what government is simply trying to do is to ensure that we equal, in other words, we level the playing field and allow for Zimbabweans and foreign investors to work together.
200 properties in your portfolio?
Yeah, it's about 2,000, and hotels.
The Ministry of Information were keen that I should meet a businessman who they believe is a model for the future of Zimbabwe. Philip Chiangwa, Robert Mugabe's nephew, a former ZANU-PF MP, and millionaire.
That was Tiny Rollins' business, and we bought that.
Who built up his portfolio by buying up companies at a time when high inflation and price controls made it difficult for them to operate here. He's optimistic about Zimbabwe's future.
It is in our own hands and in our own selves that we should be able to take this country wherever it has to be taken to. In other words, look at me. I've never left Zimbabwe for any other country. I don't intend to go anywhere. I'm stuck here. I'm doing business here. I'm being successful here. If I want to buy a jet, I'll buy it here. If I want to drive a Rolls Royce, I've got one. If I want to drive a Bentley, I've got one. If it's a beautiful mansion house, go see my house.
I did.
This is Philip's. It's used to have a personalized number.
Right. And this PC, it stands for?
Philip Chiangwa.
And with a thunderstorm raging in the background, his wife kindly gave me a tour of the family's car collection.
And this is for my eldest daughter.
And is her name Vanessa?
She's called Vanessa. Vanessa Ellen.
Right.
She's in UK. She's doing a master's.
Mrs. Janita, I must ask you, do you feel comfortable with all this wealth when so many people in the country are starving?
These things are God-given blessings. So if God blesses you with something, you have to be grateful. I know there are people starving, but these are the blessings from God. And I do appreciate what God has done for us.
There are others in Zimbabwe today who would argue that it's about time that they too received their share of the country's gifts and blessings. Julius is on strike today as he and many others demand to know why their country is so rich and yet so poor.